And I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. Because we have a PowerPoint for us to kind of lead the way. So this summer has been busy. Got to spend some time with family and friends, and then this last week, Serena's my wife, were able to do the site inspection for the parade. So they flew us out to look at everything. And just before we start, I want to just we felt what I learned is that this city loves this parade, and this parade loves the American marching bands that come over to play. We were greeted by the arts minister of the entire United Kingdom, so the one person that reports to the Queen that oversees the theaters and the galleries and the museums, and this parade was there to speak with us, and not just speak with us, but kind of mingle with all of the directors that were there about, again, the importance of this parade. We had the Lord Mayor of the city of Westminster. These were new people, aside from those of you returning members remember Bob Bone, the little guy, and then Duncan Sands. Duncan Sands, I don't know if he's a part of the parade anymore. He doesn't do the trips, but Bob Bone was there, and he's a riot. But these people were just so appreciative of what we have to offer and what we bring to this parade. And I just really got the feeling that it's our contribution that makes this parade successful. And so all along this way, I just wanted to call all of you, like the second night, and just have this Zoom just to say I didn't feel as if we're bringing a band and we're intruding. It felt like a true invitation to bring a performance ensemble to add something special to the parade. And I think you will get this feeling too while you're there. It's not as if we are valued participants in a sense, VIPs to a certain extent. So it was wonderful. Um, I also had those feelings, my perceptions leading to the trip. Well, London. Well, how special is London? I thought it wasn't. It wasn't Greece or it wasn't Rome or all these other places that I thought I would really want to visit. But once there, it is super cool. I mean, and it really is my first time there, and it really felt like a life changing moment. Um, and maybe easier because everybody's speaking, I guess, the proper English. Um, but everything was spectacular, and I'm going to talk about that. And so we'll start with this. I'll stop yakking, and I'll get to the PowerPoint presentation that we have here. So some of the stuff, those members that were here last year, this is some of the things that we were presented in the invitation ceremony. And so, but for the new members, this kind of highlights the scale of this particular parade. I'll let you kind of just read that briefly, and again, I will send this to you. They are really on top of the media presence, and I'm going to be asking some of the section leaders or staff to kind of help us document everything that's leading up to this parade with our Instagram and anytime we kind of tag the London New Year's Day parade, they're sending this information out and they're using it as their publicity for the parade in London. So it's going to be important for us to document our journey, our preparation, the show, all these little clips that we can kind of put together, tag the London New Year's Day parade. They will then, broadcast all of this information out in their social media, and it will just be wonderful. Okay. We have the facts and figures, and all this is true. And this is all very true after having been there. And I had talked to some of you about, again, chamber ensembles, and what I had presented to the administrators was that we would be bringing maybe a small cohort of chamber ensembles, whether it was a jazz trio or if it were a sax ensemble. I had talking to Jacob a little bit about that, and I think even somebody was interested in writing a piece of music for that. But if there's some of you are flute ensemble, we can trumpet ensemble, brass ensemble. I think we have about a 20 to 25 minute set that we can do whatever we want. And I have pictures of the performance I'll just show you in just a little bit. But if there's something that we would like to do, I mean, we can start thinking of an old percussion ensemble piece or something like that. We've got lots of options, but we need to kind of start putting those together. All right, this is the parade route. We start, and you see this little start at the top left corner of the screen. It's about 1.8 miles, and it is a pretty easy route in the fact that it's a pretty flat route. There's one section, I think you see Pall Mall. There's a little bit of a decline, a slight decline in that, and that's it. We actually, and we'll get to do this, the walk the route, and it's suggested that we do that because of all the wonderful sights we pass. When we're actually marching and playing, we forget to look around and enjoy our surroundings. And so they have an excursion set up for us to walk the parade route in some of our free time. But it is super cool. I mean, it's just I can't, like, every time I walk by Big Banner Parliament, I took a picture. I don't know why I kept taking a picture, but it was just so magnificent, I had to take a picture. If you have any questions, okay, yeah, good. Along the way, please don't hesitate to ask. I can't see you all. You can shout out if something pops in your mind. But easy parade route, flat. I think we'll have to march about 6 members wide. It gets kind of thin in moments, but really interesting. This, I mean, we've seen some of this. We'll watch this real quick.
The trip's been absolutely fantastic. Our students have had a really amazing experience, getting to see all sorts of different things that they normally wouldn't get to see back home, and we're really excited to be here getting ready for the parade route. We always want our students to think worldly, and I think it's so important for them to see other students doing the things that they do, and not just in their small neck of the woods, but on a global scale.
Very excited. Mostly nervous.
Yeah.
Our 21 American marching bands are among 8,500 performers taking part.
Thousands of Americans travel to London for a famous street parade that kickstarts every new year.
They've traveled thousands of miles to be here. Some have performed at London's New Year's Day parade before. For others, it's a brand new experience.
You learn a lot about yourself and what you want out of life when you travel, and getting to see another culture, another point of view, it's invaluable to any student's education.
It's amazing here in London. Our students and I were having such a good time. We're here at Windsor this afternoon. We're getting ready to go into the castle. And for a lot of my students, it's their very first time. And it's so exciting to see things like this the first time through their eyes.
We're having the time of our lives. Our kids are acclimating beautifully, and we are seeing real history. They have never seen a true castle or a true palace, So they're wide-eyed and listening to what the Blue Badge Guide is saying, and they're soaking it all in, and the conversations that we're hearing are just wonderful.
Yes, we are in Trafalgar Square. We're up bright and early with the varsity cheerleaders. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
What do you think of London?
It was fantastic. I love all the historical features about this place.
Tell us a bit about the band.
So we're 170 strong here right now. All these students are a part of our regular band program. We see them every single day throughout the year.
That's enough of that. So I have our agenda itinerary, put together that I will be able to share with everybody, so you can see what nights we're busy and what nights you might have free. And I'm going to get that to you soon, so you can plan some of your free time activities around that. But you can see here what concerts we have. We've been assigned to a particular night for our ensemble performances in the theater. They stream it. I'll be talking a little bit later about particular tickets for parents to the grandstands and things like that. But this is where we will be performing Queen Anne's Footstool. It was named because I guess an architect was talking to Queen Anne, and she didn't want to have anything to do with the design, so she kicked over a footstool and said, "Here, make it look like that." And so you see that the spires on top are supposed to look like an upturned footstool. So he actually made it look like that. So this is the concert venue. This is an actual picture I took of the stage. They had the orchestra that is assigned to this hall was there rehearsing that day. So that will be our performance space. They have some stage extensions and things like that give room for full-sized concert groups. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything in the chat. Do we get cool, Petra? What are you doing? I don't know. I was thinking that we should have something put together. It would be nice to have some swag. So I will look into it. I am not against it. Okay. So we will be, in mid-December, we're going to be packing all of our things up to ship. And this is where, I'm going to ask section leaders and managers if you all could kind of hang out at the end of the meeting. I'm going to need a lot of help getting these things together. Right now, it's everything like trumpets and bigger. They'll drop off these shipping crates. They'll drop off these shipping crates that we will put our all of our stuff into, including uniforms and shakos and instruments and anything that we want to ship. So they ask that like piccolos, flutes, and clarinets carry your instruments with you. Use them as a carry-on. You can put them in your suitcase or put them in your personal bag to save on the shipping of that. But we will be going through and getting all of these things together throughout the towards the end of the season. But I mean, there's a lot to do. Again, please don't wait. Get your passport now. It may have been something that you're like, I want to get back to school. I want to get it. We're going to need passport numbers in September. So please get your passports now. If you have a passport, it has to be valid through July of 2023 or it doesn't work. Okay? So check your passport. Make sure that it's valid past July 2023. If you don't have your passport, take care of it. I feel like Woody in Toy Story when they're picking their buddies for their moving day. If you don't have your passport, get one. You guys seen Toy Story? New members, you're going to hear me say these things a lot. I'm going to reference a movie that you probably haven't seen, and you won't laugh, and I'll laugh, and that's the way rehearsal goes. But yes, please get your passport. We bought a couple of adapters. Most of the hotels, our hotel has a bunch of USB ports, so you could, if you're with your phones and things, you can plug them in directly to the USB charging stations. You don't necessarily have to have the adapter if you want to, charge your personal devices while you have those over there. And something special about our hotel, it actually has an American plug, and you don't see that over there, so that's pretty fantastic. You know the drill. You all know how to charge your devices. I would recommend, Serena and I contacted, you can't see my phone. You can go onto your cell phone provider and just mark that you're going to be traveling. They'll charge you per day that you use your phone over there. I think we paid $10 a day to use our phones, the Wi-Fi and everything over there. And there's no problems with service or anything like that. Wi-Fi is free at the hotel, just like it is here. Does anybody have any questions so far about the information that I've covered? And please feel free to, you can either just go talk about it, you can put it in the chat, that's fine as well. Currency. To be honest, London is no longer wanting anybody to use paper currency or the coins. They really, the first thing I thought I would need is, the first thing I did when we landed in London was I ran to the ATM and I put in my Wells Fargo card and pulled out like 60 pounds because I thought, I have to have cash. Then I had, some places won't accept it anymore. They want contactless paying systems. And so you could just use your debit card. If you got a Visa or MasterCard debit card at restaurants and things, or just wherever you need to use it, you don't really need to get currency. Again, in fact, they kind of frown upon it, so don't worry about that. How do you pay for things? We're going to talk about some things that the parade gives you. But, if you've got a Visa or MasterCard, you're going to get a Dine Around card from the parade when we get there. And it'll have 45 pounds on it to cover meals outside of the hotel. And it works like we used it in restaurants, not just like fast food restaurants, but fancy restaurants. And there was no issue. Sometimes you might have to tell them specifically if you're running low and you have 12 pounds left on your Dine Around card, you can just say, I need to just use 12 pounds from this, and touch it to the scanner, boop, you're done. And then you can pay the balance with a personal card if you need to. Everything works just like it does here, except for you're going to get a Dine Around card to use with 45 pounds on it. All right. Any questions about money over there, how things work? It's really pretty effortless. You know the rules with packing. You could check a 50-pound bag, under 50 pounds is included in the ticket. You get your carry-on and a personal item. I had a duffel bag with, just like a night's clothes in case, my luggage got lost, which it didn't at all. No problems. And then your personal items. So we had talked about using our, the instruments, the flutes and picks and clarinets. Let's see. It's for everybody. The Dine Around card is for everybody that is on the roster to attend. So if you're going through this plan, you get the Dine Around card. So in the end, like everybody is a participant. Like there's not going to be a separation of a student participant and maybe parent participant. You all count towards the grand total. And so everybody that goes into this package gets all of this. So you see the temperatures, it's going to be mild. It's like what? That's like October in Pennsylvania is the winter in London-ish. Hope for no rain. The summer was ridiculously mild, highs of 66 to 72. It was silly how comfortable it was. We never really got impacted by weather. Hopefully that won't happen if we go over in the winter. Hold on. Yeah, well, yeah, and that's a good point. And thank you for bringing that up. So if you're using your credit card, so like I would use my Wells Fargo card for a couple of purchases, and there'd be like a $1.18 transaction fee for Wells Fargo, even though I knew they knew I was going to be overseas, so they're going to nickel and dime you at that. You might look into there are some. It's funny, we got back home, all of a sudden we get an invitation to apply for a particular credit card that is used overseas with no like transaction fees or anything like that. Everybody's always watching. So you might investigate if there's a particular card that is built for international travel, and you may want to apply for that and have that on hand just to save you money on transaction fees. But you're very right. We were hit with some. They're minor, but you know how it goes. It's a pain. ATM fees and things like that, same type of thing. So we know how to dress for cool weather. We'll talk more about this the closer we get to the parade. We will be flying out of Newark. Some of you are close to Newark and will prefer to get a ride there. I'm going to have a couple of coaches at the college. So if you're not from there, we can come to the college and we'll ride from the buses to the airport. Most likely to the airport and from the airport. I have to arrange that. Most likely we'll be split into 2 different flights when we go, and they do a lot of that alphabetically. I don't necessarily want to get in, there might be a couple of instances where we need to pair some people together, which is fine. But I would prefer to make it as easy as possible on the split flights. Let them split it and us just kind of to go with it. It's going to be a direct flight from Newark to London. 6.5 hours later, you're in a new place. The sun never goes down when you're going. It's crazy. It gets up early. We'll talk about how to get to the airport and all of that. We know what to do. We flew United. They have, you get a meal and a snack, and they had like the little TVs in the headrest behind you. So I got caught up on, I don't know. I watched some Freaks and Geeks and a couple of movies. You know what I mean? I can't sleep on the plane, but you need to try to get sleep on the plane if you can, because when we land, unfortunately, that's like we start like looking at things. The hotel probably won't be ready yet. It'll be probably like a 7 or 8 a.m. arrival in London, and which is what Serena and I had to do. And I was pretty grumpy about it. Hadn't slept, been up for 24 hours, and now I've got to walk to downtown London. Salty, as they say in Pennsylvania. So London's 5 hours ahead. We try to get some rest. Yeah, that's what the screens look like. We'll talk about this again as we get closer to the flight. It was a very easy process. They have all of their stuff together over in London to getting your passport through. It was no problem. We'll have our buses waiting for us to take us. We'll have car service. Serena and I had a car service when we got there. They had our name on a fancy plate. You felt special. We will be assigned a tour assistant that will be with us, the same tour assistant, the entire time. I think for the college bands, there's 5 college bands going now. They assign tour assistants that will be, I guess, I don't know, aligned with our age group. Does that make sense? They'll assign tour assistants that can talk to college kids, not high school kids. That's kind of what I'm getting to. But they'll be there for us. We had our own tour guides. It was wonderful. Here are some of the things that you will get. In addition to the dine around card that I spoke about, at the bottom left-hand corner, you see the Oyster wallet with your visitor Oyster card. This will be given to you with 25 pounds, and you use it for public transportation, whether you're using the bus route or the underground, the tube. You just touch it just like a credit card, and it lets you know what your balance is. And Serena and I, again, were there for 6 days, And there was only one time that we needed to use our credit card to get on the underground. So 25 pounds worth of transportation does a pretty good job at getting you from place to place pretty easily. Let's see, you get the little drawstring bag, maps, and that little thing at the bottom right. I brought mine because I want to talk about these walking tours because they were like ridiculously awesome. At the hotel, we have a wonderful hotel that they have assigned to us, and we will be there with Coastal Carolina will be the other band that we'll be sharing a hotel with. So two of the college bands. And the wonderful thing is the director of bands at Coastal Carolina is a Florida Gator. So the band is awesome, right? So we hung out the whole time. For those of you new that don't know, I also went to Florida, and it gets ridiculous, I guess. Here's a picture of our actual hotel room. It's the one that I snapped on our visit. There will be 2 people per room. Wonderful accommodations. This room is much bigger than the Go Gators, yes. Much bigger than the room that we stayed in for our site inspection. I put the let me see if I can move you guys around a little bit. Here's the actual website of the hotel, and you can see some of the pictures of the rooms. They really are awesome. When we arrived, this is kind of in the lobby area. I'll go through these quickly. This is where we will be having our breakfasts with Coastal Carolina. They have the huge banquet room that they'll set aside for the bands that are there during that time. There's also, this is just staged differently. There's also a staging area outside of the banquet hall. When we first get there, that's where we're going to go get all of our our dine around cards, our Oyster cards, get checked in, room keys, all of that good stuff is going to happen just right outside of this big banquet hall. But you'll be familiar with this. They also have another room set aside to store all of our instruments that will be locked. We will be working on rooming lists when we get the final roster together. So September, when I have to kind of start getting the roster sent, then we'll start talking about rooming lists, and we can certainly talk about who you want to room with. I'm fine with that. Some of you might not have a huge preference, which would be very helpful. Some of you have preferences, which is fine. But I will do my best to accommodate them to the best of my ability. But I think the thing that is nice, you're not going to be crammed in with a bunch of people. It's just you and one other person that will be in a room. And at least 1 or 2 of you have asked about the single occupancy, which, as was stated, is an extra $660. So if you want to be in a room by yourself, it's an additional $660 on top of the $3,150. We'll talk about price and stuff. Anyway, this is just a check-in counter. So that's the hotel. The wonderful thing is it's not near a busy street. When the charter buses pull up, there's a big kind of easement where the buses can unload without family members will, yes, we will put family members together. I will do my best to develop a room assignment system that makes sense and is practical and is not silly. I promise. But yeah, families will be together. I had some other questions that came through email that I need to answer, but that's the accommodations. Any questions? I also took a picture of the bathroom. It's got a tub and a shower. The toilet's just over to the left, and a sink. Our bathroom at the other hotel felt like I was on a cruise ship bathroom. If anybody's taken a cruise, they know what it's like. And I had to snap a photo of the American Plug. I hadn't seen one in the wild, so that's really fantastic. We'll have an orientation meeting when we get there. I talked a little bit about equipment storage. We'll have to check that immediately and make sure that, just check the situation of our instruments, make sure everything is good. But we'll need to pack these things tight to make sure there's not a lot of shifting. We get the buffet breakfast 6 mornings. We have, let's see, and the breakfasts we had were, they were good. They were English. but it was still good. It wasn't, you know what I mean? Just different. We get 3 buffet dinners at the hotel, 3 dinners chaperone groups using Ticket Restaurant. Listen, I don't know what we're doing for New Year's Eve. This is mainly, I think, for the yes, I will pack an instrument for alumni that don't have their instrument. We'll have one for you. We can talk as a group about maybe what we want to do for New Year's Eve. The thing about New Year's Eve is that we have to play the next day. But I don't necessarily, and we can have a pizza party and hang out together. But I would imagine some of you would probably, if we had groups, would like to maybe go somewhere and hang, which is fine as long as we're responsible and back in our rooms at an appropriate time. Because again, we're on the clock the next day for the parade. You know what I mean? All right. Any questions about this? We'll move on. They have sample of, again, if you have, I will be able to put on our forms when we're sending our information over, people with particular needs, dietary needs, or any needs that we have as an ensemble. I've already spoken to parade representatives about what accommodations we may need. But please don't be afraid to share those with me. This talks a little bit about the Dine Around card. We'll talk. It's not bad when you. Yes, allergies. I will absolutely. I will be able to put on the form as well. So if there's a particular nut allergy or anything like any allergy, I will be able to indicate. Yes, Elliot. I'll be able to indicate dietary needs or any other needs. Okay. The thing about the Oyster card, like if you're just running around the city, after 770, it stops charging you. So you can only use up to £7 at 70 per day. So once you hit that, you're good to go. We use the bus a lot. I'll talk about a couple apps that you can download, but you can either top it up or again, at the end of it, I just used my debit card at the tubes or the underground, and it just charged it, a couple dollars. Pretty easy to move around. No, you can let me know if you have a dietary need. Please. Yeah, don't wait for me to ask because I may forget to ask. So please, if you have a need, I'm sure I will ask, but please feel free to let me know. I can create a file. So the reader's touch, just, put your card against it. It's no big deal. Let's see. You'll get maps. But the best thing, we have a couple of things. The one thing that I did book the band to travel to is the Oxford University trip, to go see that university. Some of you may even be thinking about graduate school or other schooling, and it's a pretty popular trip, they say, for the college bands. We'll talk about some of the other things. I really want to, what I felt when I was over there, I had lots of free time. I was afraid that every moment of my trip was going to be prescribed and I wouldn't have an opportunity to do exploring on my own, and that isn't the case. There's going to be some prescribed things that we're doing leading up to the parade, but then after the parade, we've got a couple of days where you can explore on your own in group. I would prefer you to be in groups, obviously, but you'll have lots of like you time, you in the city time, which was really wonderful. All of the sites that we have. Here's a picture I took of Big Ben in Parliament, just because there it was. I had to take a picture. Other things, Serena and I went to see Six at the Vaudeville Theater. It was fantastic. And they even let you record the last like 2 minutes of the show. They say, get out your cell phones. So that was pretty awesome. Another musical you might like to see, Back to the Future, the musical. No way. And I will, this PowerPoint has, I need to get this. I linked the website here so that you could see all of the shows playing in December and a lot of these into January. So you can get online and start looking at, like, when we get our itinerary and you see what days you have for free. If you want to go check out Matilda or Pretty Woman the musical or just about anything that they have, it will be available. I said Hamilton, if you want to see Hamilton, it's separate. So I have a link here about the show times and prices for tickets in December and January. And so I have this. No kidding. So I do want to see some faces, I think, not just Petra's. There we go. No offense. It's a very nice face. But
it's not just me, though.
What's that? It's not just you? Oh,
it's not just
and Isaiah. Now, but it was a wonderful time, and we were able to. There's also plays and on top of musicals. You know, we were walking around the city, and all of a sudden we look at there's York's Theater, and Amy Adams is playing in the Glass Menagerie, and we're like, oh my God, Amy Adams is right here, right now, playing in this theater. And then we got online to see if we could get tickets, and of course, that was just about booked. If you wanted to sit in an area that had an obstruction of view, you could get one. But it's just super cool. And there's so much going on, and really entertaining. We have a private river cruise along the Thames, and it's brief. It's like 45 minutes. They take you from one area to the other. They drop you off, and then you go exploring from there. And it's pretty neat to see all of the sights from the water. We went to the tower. We saw the crown jewels. Here's my picture of us visiting this area. Crown jewels were in here. I don't know. It's okay if you like that kind of thing. I mean, they're really cool, but you can't take pictures, so I don't know. Here's a photo from the other side, looking out, and we see that, you know, bridge in tons of movies and things like that. There's a Harry Potter museum. There's tons of that as well. Let's see. We can talk about excursions and different things that you have. One of the things that I thought was really fascinating were the self-guided audio tours. And let's watch a brief video about that. This guy is something.
Hello, my name is Tyler Butterworth, and I produce and create the exclusively commissioned audio guides that you'll be given when you're over here. Now, these guides form an integral part of your travel and performance program, and they're a very important part of your daily itinerary too. Now, if you haven't done an audio guide to a city before, let me just tell you that they're very easy, they're very straightforward, they give you a freedom of the city, they allow you to come face to face with the place that you're going to be in. So I think you're going to enjoy them. Okay, I'll just go through the two sort of main areas really to do with audio guides. The first thing is the hardware. Now, these audio guides come on a very small player. This is it. We call it the credit card player because that's really just about the size of it. But there's the player. This one's for London. We've got the actual operating controls here. And as you can see, your headphones go into the top, but also a USB charger can go in there as well. This is the box that the London one comes in, but all the boxes have the operating instructions on the back too. Okay, so they're really simple to use. And the nice thing is, they're yours to take home afterwards. If you've never done a city audio tour before, let me tell you how they work. You know those audio guides you get in museums and art galleries where you walk from thing to thing and then you listen, get some information about what you're looking at? Well, this is exactly the same principle. You walk from stop to stop along a specially themed route, and you hear the audio. What you'll hear is commentary, sound effects, music, and then when you want, and really only when you want, you use your map book, you use your player, and you stroll leisurely to the next stop, and that's how it works. And each walk takes about, 90 minutes, really, depending on how fast you walk. The thing about audio tours that makes them very special and makes them very popular is that they are very, very adaptable. And by that, I mean you can choose how you do the audio walk. So if you want, you look in your itinerary, you see you've got a walk to do, you go there, look in the map book, and you can start it and then, I don't know, stop for coffee, take some pictures, go shopping. And then if you want to, you can come back and restart the walk where you left it, or you can keep shopping or keep drinking coffee. They are very, very flexible. Look on the map. There might be things that you want to see more than other things, so you can jump forward. You can go right to the end. You can do anything you want with these audio tours. A lot of work has gone into filling these tours with those tick-the-box attractions that people come across the Atlantic to see over here. So the choice is yours. I mean, they are very good, full, wonderful tours. But as I say, they're flexible, and how you do it is entirely up to you. Oh, I said each tour has its own map, didn't I? Let me just show you what these are. The maps are in your itinerary booklets, and I can show you a map here. There's a map. Now, there's the route, the specially themed route that I was talking about. There are stops along the way. This is where we hear the audio. On the other page in these map books, you get written directions. Now, that's written directions and audio directions on the actual stops. So really, they're pretty foolproof. Nobody's ever got lost. I've tried to get lost, and I'm still here. So there you go. That's those. I did want to also say that if you were, for example, a chaperone, taking a tour, taking a group of people on one of these audio tours, do a little bit of prep first. Before you go out, you've seen it in your itinerary book, you think, okay, I'll have a coffee, we'll look at the map, see if there's anything in particular that you want to go for, and then make a beeline for that. Another thing I wanted to show you on the map books that I think helps chaperones and it helps everybody is that we've got an information panel on every map there. And that gives you the start point, the nearest underground station, and also we've included an underground station at the end too, so you can get back to where you started. I think that's about it really as regards our audio guides. They're fun, they're informative, and some people tell me they're quite funny too. Anyway, I look forward to meeting you later on. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoy the audio tours.
So, I mean, listen, they really are funny and they really feel personalized. And Serena and I did the Riverwalk tour, and it's like you've got just somebody hanging with you, just talking. It's not too much history. It's just the right amount. It's, you know, he says, turn to your left and you'll see this. And you're like, it's just somebody outlining the important parts of this. And it's really well done. It's super fun. I thought they would be a drag, to be honest with you, but it was one of my favorite things. It was just done so perfectly. His voice, I mean, I feel like I'm listening to a Peter Rabbit novel or something like that. But I've got these if anybody wants to kind of check out what they sound like. I was going to play a little bit of it, but they're awesome. They really, really are. And just like he said, we were doing the Riverwalk and we saw the Tate Modern Museum. All the museums are free to go to. We just hit pause and we went and looked at some really interesting, exhibits in the Tate Modern Museum. But again, like all of the museums and galleries are free to go to. So we took 40 minutes and walked through that, and then we came right back out and we started the players again, and then had lunch and, you know, finished things out. So super cool. That's just the instructions about it. They said they really wanted to go to an app for our phones, but he said, you know, they were saying until like all the high schools could prove that they were 100% cell phone, they were going to stay with these little players. And again, there's a little USB that plugs in where your headphones plug in if you need to charge them again. So they're all right there. You can even listen to them after you get back home, and it's just remind you of your time there. This has the different, here's the parade route walking tour. Riverside Ramble. You can go to the rock capital. You know, you have all of these different princes, palaces, and power things you can do. In your unstructured time, all of the list of museums, markets. The markets are ridiculous. Art galleries, walking tours that you can do. Not to mention the musicals and plays that are available to you to go. I think that talks about New Year's Eve. So we will receive priority booking for those family members that are attending, and so once tickets are available, I will be letting you know when you can buy grandstands seats to sit in, which are near the end of the parade when we do our standstill performance. So we'll be marching through the parade, probably about 1.5 miles, and then we'll get to the cenotaph, and it's like a no play zone for the the groups that are performing in the grandstand area. And so we will slowly make our way to that area. Then we will have 2 minutes to get staged, play, and get out in that time. So we'll rehearse how that will happen as well. But we may do different things, in the parade route, and then do part of the show in the grandstand area or something like that to break things up. So if you have your favorite pep band tune that we play all the time, I can do Hair of the Dog on the parade route. Maybe we could do that. But grandstand seating, I was told I would be alerted as to when they were going to release those. I will send the email out and the how to buy the grandstand seats for family members that want to see us. I will get that to you. We'll have our picture taken when we're there. I think it's one of the first things we do. We get our picture taken and we get staged to do the parade. Our charter buses will take us right to where we're going to be starting. There will be bins with LVC on them to put like personal, if we have a coat on or something like that, we can just throw them in the bins. They're going to take those back to the hotel. We march the parade. Our coaches are waiting for us at the end in Trafalgar Square. Our coaches will be there to pick us up and take us back to the hotel. I mean, so they're really taking care of us, getting us right to the beginning and picking us up right at the end. Very organized. You can see all of the insurance policies that I had put in the contract that I emailed all of you guys. Yeah, we're going to keep on social media. We need to tell our story. I need help with that. We have an Instagram account. We have a Twitter account. So much to do that those things there's good intention, but then things just kind of fall by the wayside with that. What to say if you're interviewed, make sure to say thank you to the people that brought us over there, but boost our profile, enhance our reputation. You will receive at the end a link. You'll have the entire parade, video of the entire parade to watch and rewatch, just to remind you of your time there. There's links in here to check out. Now, look, this City Mapper app is awesome. So I could just put in, so when we were exploring the city, all right, I'll talk about that in a second, COVID policies. The City Mapper app, we logged in and you could put it says take me somewhere, and I could put, I wanted to go to Piccadilly Circus, and it will tell me the bus route, the underground, how long it will take, how much it will cost, and it will walk me to the underground. It will take me it will tell me exactly which way to get on the subway, how long it will take, what stop to get off on, how to exit out. It takes you everywhere. I mean, it makes it a no-brainer. So I cannot stress enough that City Mapper app. It's a lifesaver getting you around the city. I didn't know about the toilet finder, but that would have been helpful to know, earlier. So I would probably put both those apps on your phone. I don't know about again, I wouldn't worry about the currency exchange rates or ATM finder. I mean, everything's touchless, unless you just want to have pounds on hand. So the COVID policies going over, I mean, there were no restrictions. There was, while we were planning the trip, there was, I think that the Biden administration had a policy in place that we had to test negative for COVID before 24 hours, had to have a negative test within 24 hours before returning back to the States, like days before we took our trip, because we were freaking out. How are we going to do this? Where are we going to get these tests? All these things. But days after, we were days before we were going to go, that policy dropped. So there were no tests to enter. There were no tests to come back to the United States. And so really there were no mask guidelines on the flight. I mean, if you please wear a mask if you want to wear a mask. But there were no policies in place that were impacting our ability to go and return to the States. Does that answer your question? Just making sure. All right. But it's a good question. Any other questions about anything that I've gone over? We're kind of getting close to the end. There's some merch that you can pick up for the London New Year's Day Parade. I do think it would be cool to have something Pride of the Valley and with that logo on it. So I will look into a jacket or something like that that might be made available. I'll have to do that soon. I will, again, I'll tell you, I will send you this PowerPoint so you can peruse. I'm supposed to be sending the passport numbers to the parade administrators in September. So, I mean, really, the sooner, I mean, go to Walgreens, snap your photo, and start the process. It should be, it should be faster now than it was. I mean, I got it in the middle of COVID, had to re-up mine, but please don't wait to get your passport. And again, to reiterate, and I went to the post office. The final first, I went to the post office to do the passport. If you need to do it, it'd have to be Walgreens, but you go to a local post office as well. The final bill payment is due in November, so roster needs to be set in September, and with the final bill around November. Again, if you're in need of financial assistance, please reach out. If you please don't send me that just yet. There'll be a time that I'll be asking for passport numbers, but not yet, please. Petra, what was I saying? I know you were listening.
It was about cost.
Yeah.
Oh, again, for those of you that feel as if you can cover the entirety of the trip, please do that. If you're needing financial assistance, please let me know. Really, the goal is to have everybody that wants to go make the trip. I really want to represent LVC in the highest. I want us to be the best college band that they see that day, and I truly think that we can be, or the best band. Period. I think we're going to have a good show, and we play well. We got great energy. So I want to take all of you. I want us all to go. So please let me know. I might ask you, if you're in need of financial assistance, I might ask you to give me a number, just as I did for some of our members in the last couple semesters. But we will work to make it happen. I know Dr. Zoik is going to be joining us on the parade, and his wife. It looks like Petra wanted to say something.
I was just cheering.
Okay, payments. I don't know. This new system has been sketchy, I think. Has anybody but people have had kind of off and on success, yes, is what I'm hearing from Jeff Petrish. They're really trying to make this thing we're going to postpone it for 2 years, and we're going to change payment operation systems for the college in the middle of that. So it's been kind of tricky. To track your payments, I receive reports from Jeff that lists detailed summaries of who's paid and when they've made those. Not that. Stop. When they've made their payments, and so if you need information, contact me, and I can pull it for you. I've got everything through. I think I got a last Friday. What is today? Today's Sunday. Friday, I got an updated statement. But I know that there's been some sketchy, sometimes the payment system's working, sometimes it's not. No, I think that you could go online and just order some merchandise on your own. I'm not planning to do a big bulk order. If you want to get some swag, you can go ahead and do that. What I'll do is, if I can fit, I might zip it and send it in an email. I don't know exactly how long it is, but I'll try to email it to this to everybody that I contacted about this meeting. If it won't fit there, I'll put it in a Dropbox and send you a link to it. That's where I'll put the PowerPoint. I also have a copy. I'm going to put the video on YouTube, and I'll send you a link for those that were unable to attend. I'll put this up on YouTube so people can watch it. Let's see. But I will investigate. Honestly, I'm not. Maybe bulk orders are better. I was looking at maybe potentially taking the logo and putting it on something that we put together, like we do our band T-shirts, but do a jacket with the Pride of the Valley logo and the London logo. If they'll give me a PDF of it, or if they'll allow me to do that, I'll ask them. I don't think it'd be a problem. What is this? Oh, it's airport stuff. And chaperones, we don't necessarily have to. I think we're in a little bit of a different situation where we don't have to, we're not going to have chaperones outside your doors or things like that. I want to treat you like grown-ups. Let me close this out. All right. Oops, 7:59. Let's see. Yes, I will make jacket orders available. I'll probably work through the bookstore to create an ordering system for those types of things, so we can talk about it. Alumni and music. I'll get it to you as soon as we decide what we're gonna do. But I'll get it to you. I'll put parts on the website and send you a link to that, much like we do for halftime shows and things. I want to keep it as accessible as possible. It's not going to be something crazy. It needs to be a successful part of music, because we won't have our front ensemble marching down the street with us. So it's got to be something that sounds good without the front ensemble playing. I did talk to, do I have any of the, is like Griffin on here, or Maddie, or any of our guitar players? Jason is. Oh, so I've been talking about, I don't think we can ship a generator. I asked, but they should have one available to us. So as quickly as possible, I'm going to need to meet with Bailey and Griffin and Maddie and Jason about needs. And so I can send them a note about what type of generator we might need for that. We could ship like speakers and stuff like that, but they got understandably so, they got nervous when I said, can I ship a gas generator? Even if it doesn't have any fluids in it, they said no. What's the question, Patrick? Parents aren't part of the group. They are. Oh, if you have parents that are booking their flight separately, is that what you're asking, Patrick?
My dad's been asking for the flights. They're not part of the group, but they're planning their own trip. Do they want people who aren't necessarily part of the group to fill out those 2 flights we're taking, or is that not a concern?
Well, I think that, so are they doing the land option?
They're at the moment they're just doing their own thing.
Okay, then they can arrange all of their own stuff on their own.
Oh.
And so they can even pick a different flight if they want to get there, something that might be more convenient with their schedule or something like that. So they don't have to be on our flight. The only people that'll be booked on our flights will be the people that are that I'm filling the roster with, and that will include the parents as well, that are doing the getting everything from the hotel stay to the but please let your parents know, if you have family members that are doing this on their own, you can let them know again what hotel we're staying at. Again, I'll send this if they want to try to get into that one or one that's close by to that. If that's something they want to do. If they want to stay in a different part of London, that's cool too. We were at the Hilton Kensington, which was fine. It was good. It's fine. Other questions? I hope people that are sending me direct messages don't mind me reading them out loud. I think that a lot of the questions pertain to everybody. They're good questions. Think of anything that I've left off? And please ask. Like, it's not like class where you're like, if nobody says anything, he'll let us go. I am not aware of any medical shots that are required. I was not asked that, so not even about vaccinations. I did have my vaccination card with me though, but I mean, but I'm not aware of any. But I might look into that just to make sure that there's nothing. Nobody ever asked me for anything. Except my passport when I was going through customs. Having nothing to declare. Any other questions? Well, I'm going to stop recording.